Are you teetering on the edge of burnout? Hi there, and welcome back to Ask Dr. Saira, the show where I answer your questions about spirituality, relationships, personal growth, and mental health. Today's question comes from Zakir. Zakir says, if you are kind of aware you are burning out, but you have to finish the job or responsibility, what can you do so that you don't reach the edge of that cliff and burn out? If you're kind of aware you're burning out, but you have to finish the job or responsibility, what can you do so you don't reach the edge of that cliff and burn out? This is a good question. And just in the question, what it tells me, Zakir, and those who are watching who can relate to this question, is that you're self-aware, right? So that's the first thing, is that you know you're heading to the edge of the cliff. That's a good thing. Some people are already like falling off the cliff when they realize that, uh-oh, something needs to happen. So the fact that you know you're getting there, that's a good sign. Okay. So I just want to say that up front. Good job like catching it right before it gets too late. The Mental Health Commission of Canada has a continuum model where they talk about it's kind of like these 4 different phases of mental health, because remember, not everybody has a mental illness. So not everybody has depression, anxiety, ADHD, ADHD as a diagnosis, or schizophrenia, or not everybody has those diagnosable conditions of a mental illness, but everybody has mental health, right? So mental health is like physical health. We all have it, and we can be in good physical health. We can be in poor physical health. We can be in good mental health. We can be in poor mental health. So the Mental Health Commission of Canada has created this continuum where it shows you kind of the progression from, doing pretty well in your mental health and well-being all the way to being in crisis. And so they do like a green, yellow, orange, red kind of system. And so what you're describing is when you're in the yellow. So you're not doing that well. You're kind of feeling the fade, but you also have things to do that you're gonna have to push through, and pushing through may send you into orange, which is where burnout lives on that continuum. So the first thing I would say is call in the wolf pack. Call in the wolf pack. What do I mean by that? I think I might have talked about it in another video. That we are social mammals. I talked about that in my TED Talk and second TED Talk. And we need each other. We cannot do things alone. This having to be an independent adult who's fine on their own, it's not natural. It's not natural for us to be on our own by ourselves and not interact with other people. And, I was giving a talk the other day, and I brought attention to the fact that, even for those of us who are alone, we're not really ever alone, because every object around you that's not a natural, that doesn't kind of grow in the ground or come from the earth, is an object that somebody had to think about. Somebody had to design, somebody had to think about the color, then somebody had to like send that design to some factory, somebody in a factory, maybe a machine, maybe somebody was operating that machine, maybe there's someone who fixes that machine. There's people all along the way. So if you're feeling alone and lonely, one of the things to do is just tap into any object around you, any object. And you'll realize that you're not alone, and you cannot be alone. It's impossible to truly be alone. Not impossible. I think there might be people living off grid, totally self-sufficient. It's possible they made their own house and they grow their own food. Probably there are those people, but I'm not one of those people. I doubt that you're one of these people. If you're watching this on a device, somebody made that device, right? Or somebody imagined that device and it came from that. So remembering that you're part of a group, call in your wolf pack. Who are the people who will be there for you when you need them? There's this myth of the lone wolf, right? That we should be able to do everything on our own. That's wrong. That's why we burn out, because we don't actually enlist help. So when you call in the wolf pack, you call in those people who are in your circle who will be able to be there for you in the ways that you need, and then be willing to delegate, right? Be willing to delegate. So if you have a project that you're pushing through, for example, at work, right? Say there's a project, there's a deadline, you're almost burnt out, but you know you need to make that deadline. Are there other things that you could delegate? Or could somebody else make meals? Or could somebody else look after, if you have children, certain childcare aspects? Or could somebody else do something else to take something off your plate? Somebody from your wolf pack, right? Your group of your inner circle. That's the number one thing you need to do. Call in the wolf pack. The second thing to do is remember, like they say in Living Life to the Full, which is a course through the Canadian Mental Health Association, in Living Life to the Full, they say 8 or 9 is just fine. 8 or 9 is just fine. That's really hard for a high achiever. High achievers want to hit that 10 with every project, with every endeavor. I want to make it a 10, 100%, A plus project. Well, that's going to burn you out, right? So at some point you have to say to yourself, 8 or 9 is just fine. Sometimes a 6 is just fine, right? Just getting it done is just fine. So giving yourself permission that it doesn't have to be perfect, whatever it is that you're pushing through, the job or the responsibility, just get it done. Just get through it. It doesn't have to be, it could be good quality, but it doesn't have to be a 10 out of 10 because it'll add to the pressure and it'll add to your, the likelihood that you'll burn out. The third thing I would say is plan your downtime. Plan your downtime. There are periods in my work as well where I just have to push through, right? But I know Thursday nights Thursday nights are my night where I've completed my client week. There's still a bit of a gap before my work starts on the weekend. Thursday night and Friday are the days that I give myself permission to just have some downtime. And it doesn't last all day. It's not like I have an entire 24 hours of downtime, but I know for sure on Thursday night, I give myself half an hour to an hour of just relaxing, maybe reading a book, maybe watching something some show that I'm following on Netflix or whatever it is, and just mentally stop. Just give myself permission to mentally stop. If you don't schedule in downtime, life will fill up your calendar with other things. So schedule it in. I don't make appointments after my last client on a Thursday night. I do not. I do not talk to my friends on the phone. I do not go out for a coffee. I do not do any chores. The laundry will have to wait. I'm having my time. I order in dinner that night. I don't cook that night. So it's important to be able to do that. The other thing that we do in our household is that Sundays, so we've picked a day of the week that is a downtime day where we do not schedule other things on that day. Now, not everybody has the privilege to be able to do that, but there may be a few hours on a particular day that you could put aside and say, this is the time that we're not going to clutter up with the to-dos and the one more thing. We're just going to kind of keep this sanctified space for our downtime. So those are the three things. Call in the wolf pack so that you can delegate and get support. 8 or 9 is just fine, and plan your downtime. That's what I think. And those are some ideas to help you if you're just on the edge and about to fall over, but you still have to get things done. That's what I would have to say about that. So I will see you next time. Send me a question if you have one, and talk to you soon. Bye.